Hi guys, Carolina here, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about acting. So I put some questions together, questions that I used to ask other actors, or questions that I hear other people asking other actors, or questions that people ask me all the time, and this video is going to be me answering some of this questions. Okay, so the first question that I hear that some people ask me sometimes is, how do you prepare for your role? I think this question is very personal. I think every actor prepares differently for their role, and I think it really depends on what kind of play you're doing, what kind of project you're doing, what kind of character you are. I really like to do a lot of research, so I do a lot of research on the playwright and on the play and on the place where the play is taking place, and on the year that play is happening and the year that the playwright wrote the play. Then I like to read the play a couple times too. I think it helps me to understand what is the purpose of my character in relationship to the entire play, and I think that that's very helpful. I also like to get memorized as soon as possible. It takes me forever to memorize, so starting memorizing as soon as possible is the best thing for me. There are different methods of acting that different actors use. The ones that I've learned are viewpoints, Chekhov. I've learned a couple others too, but these are the ones that I mostly used. There are other methods that they're really nice methods, movement methods, where you can kind of just discover the body of your character, and that kind of helps you to understand that character better. So that's what I normally do, are some of those exercises. I love to use Chekhov too when I have the chance to do it. But you know, each actor does it their own thing. So yeah, that's kind of my preparation before I get into a role. Next question is, what is the main difference between acting in the theater and acting for the camera? I have quite a few experiences in the theater, and I have much fewer experiences in the camera. Like right off the bat, I can tell you that in the theater, your acting must be bigger because you really need to reach the people who are in the back of the theater, so they have the kind of a similar experience than the people who are sitting in the front. So you have to have a lot of command of your body and training of your voice, and in order to be on stage and performing live. And you know, like, you have to be off book, and everything needs to be memorized, and you've got some time to rehearse it, which is really nice. Depending on the project you're working on, you don't have a lot of time. Sometimes you have 10 days or less, but you still have that time to rehearse it, which is really nice. And you gotta be really big. You gotta have a lot of control of your body. Acting for the camera can be a little more difficult, especially for an actor who's being trained to do theater, because you have to bring all of that down. It's like you bring everything down. If in the theater you have to bring everything up, you know, so everybody in the theater can see your performance and know who you are. For the camera, everything becomes so much smaller. And stillness is very important when you're in front of the camera, when you're acting for the camera. And to me, that's really difficult, especially coming from theater. You still have to be meticulous, and you still have to do that training, that research, be memorized. Okay, next question. I love this question. How do you memorize all these lines? People ask that a lot. And I think it's funny. I've gone to other shows where, you know, there was a talk back after at the end, and then someone in the talkback asked the main actor, how do you memorize all those lines? And it's, for me, I don't really like it to memorize it, but it's just a thing that we have to do. Just like you have to wake up really early to go to work, and you don't necessarily love that. We have to memorize lines, and for some of us, is not the best thing to do. It's not their favorite thing to do. It's not my favorite thing to do, that's for sure. And I think mostly it's because English is my second language, so to do memorization in your second language can be annoying. So I really try to understand what my character is saying. And if I have a really long text, what I do is I try to map out the thoughts. So I think of the thoughts and the ideas that are in that monologue. So even though I don't know the words, I know the lineage of the argument of the character and how they are trying to get to what they're trying to get to, which is really helpful. So I like to go for walks when I'm memorizing things. I also like to have people helping me out. It's really helpful. It takes me forever to memorize, you guys. So long to memorize. I have friends who take them like barely any time to memorize. Like anytime. Like they read it a couple times and they memorize it. And to me, it takes weeks sometimes. So lots of repetition. I try to memorize it before I go to bed and then wake up, and first thing I do is try to memorize it again. That helps me. Sometimes if it's a dialogue, I will record the other person's lines and leave a little space and then say my lines, like listen to it and then say my lines in that little space. Because it's my second language, I need to have someone making sure that I'm pronouncing things correctly, I need to make sure that I know the meaning of the words that I'm saying. And I also, there's a lot of tone and emphasis and rhythm of how I say sentences, because I'm not, I'm not a native, I'm not a native English speaker, so the rhythm to which I speak English is different from the rhythm that an American would speak. And so sometimes I have to have someone else to kind of checking that out, because if my rhythm or my emphasis in the words or in the sentences is too off, people will sometimes have trouble understanding what I'm saying. So I really need to make sure that that's going on. All right, my next question is, how hard is it to act in your second language? Like I said, like there is it takes me longer to memorize. I have to do a lot more research than Americans or other actors need to do, just because of the fact that this is not my first language. So especially if I'm doing classical work like Greek plays or Shakespeare or all of that, the language tends to be a lot more challenging. So I need to do quite a bit of research on that and pronunciation and all of that. So it can be a little difficult. I think it used to be a lot harder before, but now, yeah, I'm kind of used to it. And I think that the hardest thing for me is sometimes communicating in rehearsal, communicating with other actors or communicating with the director, because sometimes the director will give me an instruction, or will say a word that I don't know, at all, or I don't understand the instructions. So I have to be like, I just learned over time to, kind of repeat the instructions again, back to the director, just to make sure that I am understanding what they're saying. And just culturally, I speak differently, I communicate differently with other people, and because, we're from different countries, different cultures, different languages, different everything. So I think that's the place where I find it's most difficult. And it takes me a while longer to get some things, like to pronounce some words, to memorize some things, or to understand an instruction, or to understand how a scene is, the flow of a scene. It's just because I'm not used to speaking some of those slangs, or yeah, it's just a little difficult in those cases, but yeah, not so bad. And the last one is, what is your favorite thing about acting? Everything. I really love acting for the theater. Acting in the theater, I think that there is something beautiful and amazing to just be in a space with other people and sharing this amazing experience and kind of making the audience part of that play and part of that world too. So much fun, and having the other actor and having the rehearsal process, I love that. And I know that going to film and going to television, it's a very different process, but yeah, I still think it's really cool to I just love sharing the human experience and to kind of playing, you know, kind of having that playfulness that happens in the theater, and it doesn't get to happen in a lot of other places. I love what we get to learn with theater. I love that theater and acting is educational, both for the people who are in it and the people who are watching it. And yeah, I love so many things about it. We have to do another video. Okay, so this is it for today, you guys. Leave your like and subscribe, because I'm going to be doing other videos. So if you like this video, please leave your like. Oh, and please send your comments and your questions so I can make another video answering those questions as well. All right, bye.